Pigeon Point Lighthouse is one of the oldest and most treasured icons on the California coast, rich in historical and technological lore. For over 140 years, its strong, stunning beacon served as a symbol of safety and comfort, a guiding light for mariners at sea, and more recently a source of wonder for hundreds of thousands of people who visit the site each year. But today, this powerful icon is literally crumbling, in need of significant repair to preserve it for the future. These days, we know that to preserve beloved icons, we can't rely upon federal or state governments to provide the funding. It's up to those of us who care about them to take action. The Statue of Liberty Ellis Island fundraising campaign was the most successful public-private partnership in the history of the United States. No government funding was used. Of course, a project on the scale of restoring Lady Liberty doesn't happen often, but the partnership model has been used successfully here in California and will be essential to the restoration of Pigeon Point. What is the history and significance of Pigeon Point Lighthouse, and why is it important to preserve? Located on California's magnificent San Mateo County coast, Pigeon Point is the tallest lighthouse on the West Coast and one of the most recognizable in the western United States. In the late 1800s, clipper ships sailed the coast, making the treacherous trip to and from San Francisco. In 1853, the clipper ship carrier Pigeon met her demise at the point that still bears her name. After three more major shipwrecks from 1865 to 1869, with 49 fatalities, the lighthouse tower was completed in 1871. A year later, one of the most unique applications of optics technology ever imagined was installed above the spiral stairs. The first order Fresnel lens was first lit at sunset on November 15, 1872. Today, more than a century of exposure to wind, rain, sun, fog, and salty sea mist have inevitably taken their toll on the lighthouse. Recent structural failure combined with decades-old temporary repair work that is well past its intended life has created an urgent need for a complete restoration. Things are literally falling off the structure today. The California State Parks Foundation completed an interim stabilization to provide some temporary protection for the tower until funds can be raised to completely and thoroughly restore it to structural soundness. The first step was to remove the lens from the tower, both to protect the lens in the event of structural failure and to keep its weight from exacerbating the vulnerability of the tower. The lens consists of 1,008 separate lenses and prisms and weighs about 4,000 pounds with its pedestal and turning mechanism. Having it on display in the Fog Signal building provides a wonderful chance for all visitors to admire the intricacy of the lens. The lens will be returned to its rightful place at the top of the tower once the funds, nearly $12 million, have been raised and the full restoration is complete. Until the tower is restored, however, the lighthouse remains in danger of irreparable damage and catastrophic failure. If we don't complete this restoration, the lighthouse may not survive, and the priceless Fresnel lens will remain dark forever. The coastal lands surrounding and including the light station have been protected thanks to the Peninsula Open Space Trust, California State Parks, and others. Thousands of people contributed to this important first step that has preserved land along this pristine stretch of coast and supported the resurgence of endangered species. Restoration of the lighthouse itself now is the important next step to complete the job and is one of California State Parks Foundation's most important campaigns. The Pigeon Point Light Station served as a beacon of inspiration, not just for mariners over centuries, but also as an inspiring monument and important milestone for millions of people traveling along California's coastal highway. Located on the San Mateo coast, the majestic lighthouse stands at a height of 115 feet, close to the beautiful rural community of Pescadero, and in close proximity to one of California's most important wildlife preserves, Año Nuevo State Park. The California State Parks Foundation completed a major rehabilitation of the Visitors Center at Año Nuevo to encourage visitors to learn about this extraordinary and internationally significant area. With all the success in protecting coastal lands, the lighthouse stands out as the one unfinished piece, the jewel in this pristine stretch of coast. More than 200,000 people visit Pigeon Point Light Station State Historic Park each year, including about 12,000 guests who stay at the International Hostel on the property, and more than 3,500 school children who participate in educational programs and enjoy the facilities at the lighthouse. The California State Parks Foundation works to support all of California's state parks in this era of reduced state funding. But we've carved out a special place for the Pigeon Point Lighthouse with its own campaign for support. This is how important we think the lighthouse is. Restoring Pigeon Point Lighthouse is about connecting our past to the future. It demonstrates the power of community to preserve the things we care about. There are many ways to give and support this campaign, but one thing we know for sure: the people who do stand up and make it possible to complete this mission will become part of a most unique and memorable accomplishment. Supporting the campaign to restore Pigeon Point confers a gift that will last many lifetimes, providing a legacy to our children and a symbol to all that our California heritage shines brightly into the future.
Stray